And we are live. Welcome back to the RINO podcast. Hello, everybody. Happy Father's Day. We just did a great Father's Day episode. Good episode. Very good episode over on the Patreon. That'll be up soon. Patreon.com/RINOpod. Only $1 a month. Go subscribe. We appreciate all our patron support, and thank you very much. Kaitlin, how are you?
I am good. It's been a long time, guys. I've been so crazy busy over the last month.
Yes. It's a beautiful day here in Massachusetts.
Oh my God. It's such a gorgeous weekend. And then we're going to be going into hotter than hell weather for the next week.
Yes. Yes.
It's going to be it's so fun. How can I say this? It is the most green that it has ever been, I think, in the last 6 years this summer. The most green.
Yeah. We got a lot of rain in the spring. It's nice. My lawn looks terrific. If this heat and dry keeps up, it won't look terrific by the middle of July. It's definitely going to die out and turn, white and brown and all that good stuff. But for now, it looks spectacular. So I'm going to try to maintain as much as I can. Pool is open. I vacuumed it yesterday. The sun is out. Birds are chirping. Life is good. And emphasis on was, I was totally fixated on the murder trial down in Canton about Karen Reed. Now, let me preface this because we're smiling and it's kind of funny-ish because, it's been entertaining. But to preface this all with a serious note. All right, if you're not, I can't go through the whole Karen Reed trial to those who are uninitiated to it. If you're listening to this or watching this, you probably have some idea of what's going on. John O'Keefe was a Boston cop, and in January of 2022, he was killed. And we don't know how he was killed, but his girlfriend, Karen Reed, is on trial for supposedly backing over him with her car, and she's on trial for murder. I am going to say this out. As I watch I've been paying attention to this trial. I've paying attention to this case before it even went to trial. I watched a lot of the first week. There's clips of what I could and followed it on Twitter. I don't think she did it. I think she's completely innocent. I think this is a total frame job. There's no physical evidence connecting her to it. There's just witness testimony from witnesses who are so bad and inept and, quite frankly, stupid. Howie Carr has written article after article about this, and they're funny, just calling him basically towny white trash. It's appropriate. It is. These are the definition of towny. It just never went anywhere.
So for anybody who's watching this from the South, towny white trash in Massachusetts is basically your trailer, kind of almost close to trailer trash in the South. Not yet.
You know what? Maybe same attitude, but plus.
If they have more than 5 tattoos, Jeff, come on.
I don't know. There's a difference. There's a difference because they have money. They get good town jobs.
Because they're happy. I would say in the South they also do that because you would be surprised how many. Sorry, we're going off topic here.
No, this is entirely related.
Are plumbers and electricians, and they make a shit ton of money. You'd be surprised.
Oh, okay. All right.
They the culture.
Yeah.
Anyway, keep going.
No, but it's a culture. It's and what
it's
this officer John O'Keefe.
So when I moved up here.
Yeah, so this John O'Keefe. So John O'Keefe was killed, and I'm speculating. I don't know. Quite honestly, it's speculation as to who actually killed him, because that's murky. There's not evidence that says one person or another or a group of them did it. I don't know. And I don't think that's come out because there hasn't really been hard evidence. But there's been plenty of actual evidence that indicates that Karen Reed did not do this.
Okay.
The timelines, if you follow it, I mean, and every day and week there's like a new name thrown into it. This week there was testimony. I caught the clips on Twitter of the state police were testifying. Their testimony is completely inconsistent. The state police didn't investigate most or a handful of people that were at the home when this occurred. The state police have the investigator has major conflicts of interest in investigating the family who he was friends with. I mean, like just up and down, like inappropriate behavior and unethical behavior, left and right. So this trial, I think it's probably in the minds of the jury and definitely the public. It's over in the sense that she's not going to be only found not guilty. I mean, I think she's genuinely innocent. Like but then what? So I don't know, because this trial is going to drag on and on. The prosecutor in this case, if they were smart, the DA, they would understand that the case is not going very well, and that the evidence they presented has been, in fact, evidence that has, in large minds of the public and probably the jury, made it so that they're going to come out back with a not guilty verdict.
Yeah, exonerate her.
Yeah, they should just drop the charges. Okay, because the deeper they go into this, the more they're putting their own careers at risk, and it doesn't just sit at the lower level of like the officers investigating it, right? Because then Howie Carr wrote this article. There's also a murder trial of a guy who probably did kill his wife, and it was I think investigated by either the same investigator or the same unit. The state police in Massachusetts have had some recent scandals, overtime pay, where it's been. They dramatically inflated their overtime pay and falsified it, and the guys have had to retire and things like this. This is corruption. And this is the weird part. I don't know why.
Maura Healey.
Yeah, well, but this is accountability and running the state and governing it. So it's and who they appointed as leading it, and allegedly affairs taking place with the governor and the state police, allegedly. These are problems, guys. These are real.
This is super serious. It's a joke.
Yeah. This is what happens when bad governance takes place. We need somebody who's serious to come in at the top.
I think this is what happens.
Clean house, or at least get everybody into shape. Now, let me see. This is
we have one party rule over decades that allows this bullshit to happen. I'm sorry, but we don't even audit in the state of Massachusetts. It's so absurd, right?
We are conservative Republicans. We back the police. Okay, we know how tough a job it is. I personally want cops to be well paid.
They do a great job.
They do a great job.
Hard job. I support police. I don't support corruption.
Correct. That's it. That's where not everybody in Massachusetts, but certainly the vast, vast majority of Americans and citizens in Massachusetts, you want cops to be paid well. You want them to be taken care of, make a good living. They work hard. All that stuff. But where they fucking draw the line is this bullshit. I'm hoping it's only a couple of bad apples. When the investigator for the state police knows many of the participants in this case, they should recuse themselves right off the bat. Their superiors should understand that and recuse themselves right off the bat. The fact that even it slipped by is bonkers, and it should not have happened. And this is going to ruin a lot of reputations and careers. Nobody's getting out of this right now. This trial is the local trial, and the feds are already investigating it. I can guarantee you, one, if not every one of them, is flipping on each other right now, trying to avoid jail time. These state troopers you see testifying in this case, the officers who I don't know, maybe fudged reports, covered up a little bit here, did something there. They're all losing their jobs. That's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. But if you're a politician in this case, you're waiting for the trial to end so you can come out in favor of it. You can't, and this is where it gets weird with where I think some of the media commentators, including like Howie, well, maybe not Howie, but definitely like Turtle Boy, and just like where's Maura Healey on this? It's like, well, one, you can't say shit until the trial's over, because then if you say anything while it's going on, then you're seen as influencing it, and that's worse. It's almost like what Robert De Niro and the Biden campaign did right before the jury, when the jury was deliberating on Trump's verdict in Manhattan. Their fucking campaign sent Robert De Niro to give a press conference while the jury was deliberating. Insane. So that's going to get thrown out on appeal.
Yeah, how much money did the Trump campaign bring in off of that verdict?
$50 million.
50?
I thought it was 50. I heard 50.
I thought it was way more than that.
Oh, well, it's still more than 50 million. It's a lot.
Money, Jeff.
Yeah. So,
and all you have to do is be quiet. Like, I don't understand. I don't understand the Biden. When it comes to the Karen Reed trial, I've been trying to not pay close attention to this on purpose.
Good for you. I got sucked in, but good for you.
Well, but the thing is like, I understand being sucked in, right? So, like, one of my favorite podcasts is Sword and Scale, and shout out to Sword and Scale. I love this podcast. They go in depth into murders, violent crime, trials, and all of this stuff. They did the Danvers high school math teacher murder. Do you remember that?
I think so.
And all of the
wait. Okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So, not to deep dive into that murder, because that crime was very horrifying, to say the least. But I've been trying to stay away from the Karen Reed trial because it involves clearly a murder. And this is going to end up on Sword and Scale when all of this is done. And I want the guy who hosts the podcast to do this trial and go in depth, because what he does is he'll bring in like police testimony. He'll bring in like the witnesses, like and he creates this narrative from those facts. And then he gives usually a little commentary at the end. But, you know, it's so crazy to me how like interconnected some of this like corruption and all this other stuff is. Right? Like, and in Massachusetts, that's easy, right? Because Massachusetts has one party rule, right? So regardless of me, you know, supporting the police and their presence in Massachusetts, and police presence in Massachusetts, never going to change. It is culturally put here compared to other hardcore blue states. Even the Democrats support the police here.
I'll say most Democrats.
Yeah, most Democrats.
There's a lot of defund the police.
Mayor Wu down in the city of Boston might say a lot about defund the police or any type of highly progressive shtick she wants to play that day. But at the end of the day, the police department of Boston, their budget ain't changing.
And in fact, I think it was this week that they said it's going up. The difference would be like, so Mayor Wu would give lip service to that. Some of the city council, though, they're true believers. They want
the city of Boston.
They want to abolish police.
City council, Mayor Wu, these people are delusional. But at the end of the day, if the city budget or the budget for the police department of the city of Boston goes up, their rhetoric means nothing. They're just saying it because they want all of the progressive lunatics that are in Boston to vote for them. That's what they're doing. You know, it's not like these smaller towns where you have all these progressives who care about getting elected in government and all this other stuff, actually defunding the police. The police will always have a presence in Boston. It's just a cultural thing. Like compared to like maybe New York City where like they might actually implement something like this and it like, no. Like in Boston.
And it's a good thing. It's a good thing that we have a large police budget.
Yes, it's a good
You
thing.
name
It's
it.
great. Like
Yeah.
in Boston, if I go downtown, I want the police to be able to respond to me if I were in danger. I feel safe seeing a police car down there.
Yeah.
Um, but again, with the Karen Reed trial, I have a lot of friends following it. And I'm trying to like close my ears when they talk about it because I want this to be a Sword and Scale podcast episode because I've been hearing about the absurdity of everything, and I want to hear the host's take on that. It's so crazy how like something so local, and in Massachusetts, all politics is so local. Um, can cause this much drama around the state and even meet the national level news at times. So
Well, the wild part about this. So there's other elements to this that are really shady because the DA has done some. Clearly, they're not seeking justice in the minds of the general public. Okay, because like I went to a graduation party, a barbecue a couple weeks ago, and we're on the deck, having a hot dog, and we're all talking about it. And nobody was like, oh, Karen Reed definitely did it, and here's why. They were all like, it's abundantly clear she didn't do it. Abundantly clear. Laughably so.
but who
But
do
the
you
DA
think
moves forward with this. Like, so I gotta go, like, what is going on here? Why are they why are they, because if you have a brain and you're the district attorney, you're like, all right, this isn't your typical, we got to go all in lockstep and move forward because I don't even know why. If you have a brain, you're like, all right, they tried to frame this woman. Why? So what's behind that? Was it just some drunken altercation and it got out of hand? Very possibly. I have no idea. Or is there something deeper behind it? And then people start asking those questions, and the feds are already way deep into this thing. They probably have it all figured out anyhow.
it sounds like a True Detective season.
It's going to be a movie. And what sucks in all that.
True Detective?
I watched definitely seasons 1 and 2. I didn't watch the
Well,
recent one with
sucks,
Jodie.
but
I don't agree with that. That's a bad
so
take.
what? Season 2 of True Detective?
I liked it with Vince Vaughn. With Vince Vaughn, right?
But it's going to be a topic for another discussion on what you enjoy versus what is
great.
actually.
I liked it.
Anyway, season 1 of True Detective, though, was probably some of the best TV in the last 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
But you see like corruption within like the police department and in the government. And so like, is that what happened here? Did he framed on purpose?
Again, speculation. I oscillate between stupidity and possibly corruption or corruption on top of stupidity, because if the DA prosecuting this, like, and then they went after Turtle Boy for like witness intimidation and threw him in jail, like that's a lawsuit right there. Like, so, if Turtle Boy wants to go about that, and he's out of jail and he's done good work publicizing all the details of this.
So what happened with him? Can you kind of go a little bit into what happened with him with this?
This is to very briefly, he was arrested for quote unquote witness intimidation. Now, what the witness intimidation was is he was going and blogging about or interviewing with video the witnesses, who some of which who have testified in the trial, the people who were at the home, and the police. Did he investigate the police who were investigating it, or did he interview? I don't know, but definitely the people who were at the home, at the Alpert home, right? Yeah. That where he was killed. So, I'll be full. I didn't watch the videos, or what I did watch. I watched one video of a clip in a pizza parlor or something like that. Mm-hmm. I'm not quite sure what he said, but this was witness intimidation. But I think he was asking them questions about details that had already come out about the case. Now, even if, which I don't think he was guilty of witness intimidation from that perspective, even if you do that, if you're the DA, you don't if you're like, if 1+1 isn't adding up to 2 in the case and it's clearly lining up and you're looking at all the evidence and, you're saying, oh, there's a lot of gaps here, you don't draw more attention to it by arresting somebody who's trying to, publicize it, because that only reinforces the narrative that maybe you don't want getting out there. So these are just mistakes after mistakes. So when, but again, you have to go to why. Why are these people acting that way? And if they're doing it just to cover up a drunken altercation one night, I mean, that's some pretty bad corruption right there. If it's all tied in, right, from the investigators, the local police, the state, the DA, I mean, holy shit, you're gonna have to clean house there.
Right.
So it aggravates me as a law-abiding citizen that this kind of nonsense is going on, and you have to think that most cops aren't like this, and most cops are good cops and just doing their job. But then this kind of stuff takes place. And then you start to think about, well, shit, I mean, that's taking place. It's like, and then the lefties, well, if Karen Reed was, I don't know, a black male or something like that, would one, I don't think the attention would have been paid to it. I think that's obvious. I'm honest enough about that. But also, would the evidence that has been presented that I think largely exonerates her and clears her, would that have come to light? And the answer is, I don't know. So there's questions about, so this goes on a deeper level where there are legitimate complaints from folks on the left and liberals, and should be in cases like that of malpractice of justice, then we on the right should be steadfast in upholding that. We have to think deeper about it, but it comes from the top. If you have a culture of Joe Biden, who, people are like, oh, justice was served because Hunter got convicted on a gun charge. It's like, yeah, but you're suppressing the IRS case. Why?
Right.
Because because you suppress, you're in the media and you suppress the laptop story. Why? That's all a culture of corruption. And I'm not I'm definitely not a conspiracy type person, but a lot of conspiracy can be explained by corruption. And it's a sad state, and you need people who take it seriously and are going to treat it seriously, because it's a serious issue. So, anyway, no more on Karen Reed. I lost steam after the first week because it was so obvious, all of the testimony. I'm like, they're contradicting each other. They're clearly lying. They contradict their own testimony, and for the grand jury, like, they're just these people must have been lying so much their whole lives. They think that lying in court, they're just like gonna get away with it, and it's obvious. And when their texts, like Google searches in the middle of the night, the timeline doesn't add up. There's no motive. It's just all this stuff.
Yeah.
She's going to be found not guilty. I do think she's innocent. Then the real, you're going to have to wait a while for the podcast, because they're not going to know what exactly happened till they start flipping and making deals, which I guarantee you some of them already are. If you're like if you weren't at that house and you sort of just, were an accessory after the fact, you're flipping. You're trying to stay out of jail.
Yep.
Definitely. So we shall see. All right. Next up, VP stakes. Who do you think will be the GOP nominee for VP? And this time, I think it really actually matters.
I like Doug Burgum right now.
I think that's a good solid
I'm not
choice.
saying that's not the same as saying who I think it will be, but I like Doug Burgum.
I think the Trump campaign likes Doug Burgum, so it might actually be him. It might be somebody else too, but
don't like JD Vance. I'm sorry.
I know there's no talk about that, but
don't want him in this role at all.
Yeah,
no.
He'd probably we as a party would be better served with him staying as a senator. This is the thing. They're going to come out a strong, it's a one term, And I think, honestly, right now, Trump's looking to get elected. Buckle up, lefties. You blew this one.
I mean,
So I'm hoping we can, but the thing is, we definitely need to take the House and the Senate to get anything decent done.
yeah.
And,
Well, if we don't take the House, they're impeaching Trump. I'm sorry. Like, they're going to impeach him
correct.
for breathing, to be quite honest. Like, I mean, that's the way Democrats operate. You know, the Republicans always can't figure out how to do it. And so, wow, I'm trying to give away my real opinion here on House GOP dysfunction.
Yeah.
I think Mike Johnson, to be quite honest, Jeff, he's done the best job that he can. He's dealing with the clown car of the GOP House members that are a select group. I mean, the Dems have their own. Like, I think the entire squad is just the Democratic clown car nonsense. And now we have like everyone's coming. What I think is funny here, and this is off topic, is that like all of a sudden all of the anti-Semitic back end stuff about like Jamal Bowman is coming out, Cory Bush, like it's like, yeah, like how did we not know this during their election campaigns? It's all coming out now. But anyway, for Trump's running mate, I'm hoping it's Doug Burgum. I don't want JD Vance in this role at all. I don't think that he's had enough time in office. I also think that he's pretty untested. When he ran for Ohio Senate, he ran under Mike DeWine and the rest of the ticket by a lot in 2022. And so, and he under fundraised and all of that. I just don't think that he's a spectacular candidate for this role.
Yeah.
I think on the others that are on the list are Tim Scott, Elise Stefanik. Who else?
Elise Stefanik should be a no. You know, upstate New York congresswoman is not.
She's a lib. I'm sorry. Yeah. Like the thing is like she votes in line with Republicans. Like, but on like the big things, when it's like the gender identity nonsense, like she votes with the Dems. Yeah. So like I'm done. No.
Tim Scott would be okay, but he would be weak. He was weak as a presidential candidate, and he'll be weak as a VP and VP candidate, like to bolster the ticket.
Right.
Like he just would be. He had some good answers in some debates, but on the whole,
it's likable.
No, Burgum's the strongest and best choice. I guess we're gonna find out is Trump gonna keep it to the convention?
I think it comes out before then.
I think probably maybe a little bit before then. But I think Burgum's it's a good choice. No one's going to sneeze at that. And look, Trump isn't exactly the pillar of health. You know, he's eaten, quarter pounders and Diet Cokes his whole life. You do want to consider that, like, and he's going to be in his, 79, 80 very shortly. Unfortunately, I mean, the reality is, look at Biden. Just, you know what I'm saying? Now we have Kamala. In case Biden drops. Yeah, I respect that.
Kamala.
But I mean, here's the thing. Look at Biden right now, and you're like, geez, like if there was a different vice president, they'd be in a completely different situation.
It looks terrible at the D-Day ceremony, the 80th D-Day celebration. He looked even worse at G7. I mean, the PM of Italy having to lead him back, like it was. I don't even think Dems are core like really going for this guy anymore. They just want to beat Trump.
So here's the Doug Burgum's the best choice in the terms of, if Trump drops dead of a heart attack in the first year, and you need somebody competent executive to be in there. But also, say he serves the full four years. Coming out of that, DeSantis may run again, which is great. You and I are both big Ron DeSantis fans. But also, if Burgum, being the vice president, decides to make a go at it, and likely he would, he'd be a strong candidate and a front runner, which would be a fine position for him to be in and also for the country.
Right.
Straight up. So it's probably the best choice. I don't know if the same can be said for JD Vance. All right.
Yeah, I mean, like with JD Vance, like first of all, I don't really like how like aggressive his rhetoric is on like Ukraine. It's like take it down a notch, dude. You can disagree with what is going on with the funding and all of that to Ukraine without coming off like a dick.
Well, there's that, but also he economically, I mean, his
like all
his
of a
economic
sudden,
policy
like completely shifted, Jeff. Like that's the thing with JD Vance. Like, it's just like, dude, like in 2016, you were like singing the tune of Evan McMullen. Like, what are we talking about here? And then, like, all of a sudden, you're like Trump's biggest fan and you kiss the ring like every 5 minutes. Like, like, when it comes to the MAGA sycophants and all of that jazz, like, God, I want you to at least look like an individual. You look like a chump. And at least Doug Burgum doesn't look like he, bends over for Trump. Like, he looks like an individual. He comes off like that. He comes off like a good person.
No, Vance is a big government guy. He just wants that government to be domestically focused, not internationally focused. He's fine with welfare. He's fine with,
and I'm fine with like a little bit more domestically focused government, because I think that we are a really internationally focused government, and there needs to be moderation on that in general. But like when I like see his rhetoric and hear it, it's just like, dude, you come off like an asshole.
Yeah. Well, and you got to be likable on it.
You don't come off articulately like an asshole either. And I know that you're like, the thing is like, I know JD Vance is very smart. Like, that's the other thing. Like, he doesn't articulate his views very well. It's probably why he under fundraised when he ran for that seat.
Yeah. All right, folks, head on over to the patreon.com/RINOpod. Only $1 a month. Would love to have you subscribe over there. We'll give you a little bit of extra content, extra episodes every few episodes when we get a chance. Be away next week, but maybe the week after that.
Summer's super busy, guys. Sorry.
Summertime. The weather around in Massachusetts is spectacular right now.
It is incredible,
and it sucks about 6 to 7 months out of the year. So we're going to be out and about and doing shit for those times. So anyway, we hope you enjoy this podcast, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.